Welcome to the latest episode of the M6P versus the MCU. I'm your host, Jared, and we're joined, as always, by Darrin and special guest tonight, Jon and Kirk. So welcome to the show, guys. Thanks for coming on. We're excited to have you. Real quick about us, we're the M6P. You can check us out on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, the Twitter, all the things that the kids are doing these days. You can check us out. Just follow the M6P. We definitely want you to subscribe to our YouTube page. If you subscribe, once we hit 1,000 subs, we're going to do a raffle for the Marvelous Box, which you can check out at themarvelousbox.com. For $25 a quarter, you get over $100 worth of Marvel graphic novels shipped right to your front door. It's a blind box subscription service, but from what the kids tell me, it's awesome. I love putting it together, and it's a lot of fun. So check us out there. And I think the other guys have some things they want to plug too. Darrin, what you got, man?
Yeah, I'm Darrin. I'm the owner of Michael Web Solutions. I have helped Jared over these years with a lot of his internet stuff. Came on board a few years after Andy and him got started with the podcast, I believe, maybe a little bit longer than that, but I'm still here. Now I'm on the YouTube show, and it's always a lot of fun, and I'm excited to meet these two guys. Both newbies. We have two newbies tonight. That hasn't happened in a while, I don't think, so that's pretty cool.
Out with the old and in with the new.
Yeah.
Don't tell the other guys that. No.
No, I'll introduce myself, Dr. Jon Darrin. Or you guys, the people at home can just call me John D or Dr. John D or whatever. It's what I'm using now mostly. I think I met Jared, 5-6 years ago, when the M6P website was getting off the ground. We were doing a lot of production of, articles, features, things like that. And among other things I did for you guys, I was writing what if features, very appropriate for some of what we're going to talk about, or what I've been told we're going to talk about tonight. So to get back to that. And in addition to my work as a veterinarian, I have been doing or have done voiceover work in the past. Always happy to pick a little bit of that up, and nothing going on right now. And for anyone who gets curious about it, I do occasionally do science education or medical education and science fiction, comics, genre fiction, whatever, kind of crossover discussion panels for the Convergence or Onvergence online convention circuit. So occasionally that stuff will come up. Always happy to have more people listening to what I have to say there.
Nice.
Pass over to Kirk.
And Jon, don't you know the not real Stan Lee, right? Don't you know him?
I might know the not real Stan Lee True Believers. Occasionally he would call in to the podcast and talk to Jared and Andy, and I think it's been too long since he's dialed in, but I just don't know what happened to that guy. Maybe I can get him to revisit with his words of whimsy and wonder.
Yes, you'll have to have him give us a call sometime. That'd be great. But Kirk, how about you, man?
Hi guys, I'm Kirk, and I've known Mr. Jared for several years now, and we bonded over many nerdy things and talked at comic conventions and those type of things. I may have probably, in my opinion, it's biased, but I probably have the best comic book YouTube channel in existence. Okay, because on my channel we have amazing Spider-Man 129, the first Punisher. We do all kinds of stuff. We make submissions for comic grading. I spend an excessive amount of money on comics, and I like to get them graded and talk about them and act like I know what I'm talking about. So yeah, Captain Kirk Productions is the name of my channel, and you can also find me on Instagram.
Nice, awesome.
Awesome.
A little quick story about Kirk. Kirk wasn't always like big into comics, but his dad was big into comics, and he had stored them all at his grandma's house. And Kirk was like, "Hey, you want to come over to my grandma's house and like see some of the comic books?" And I was like, "Sure, yeah." It was like a museum of comic books. They were in the closet. They were in chest of drawers, desks. They were everywhere. And Kirk didn't know a whole lot about them or whatever, but he was like, "What do you think about this one?" And I was like, "Oh, it's just 5 appearances of the first appearance of Vision. Oh, it's just, you know, the first appearance of Rogue." And he has 3 copies. Like, it was crazy. I can't even put it into words what that was like.
That was a good day when you came over. I've never seen you so excited in my life.
It's like, I want to rob his grandma, but she was just so nice. I couldn't do that.
You can't rob grandma.
No, that was awesome.
You know, obviously now that Kirk and I are such good friends from having logged into the show shortly before Jarid and Darrin got on, you know, I'll have to all of it. Make a trip to Ohio, right?
All right, Darrin, you want to get us kicked off, man?
Yeah, sure. Wow, it's been a while since the last show, and now we're handling something completely different than, I guess, you know, the live action element of the MCU on Disney Plus. We have the animated stuff. Obviously, we're all big of What If fans from the comics and whatnot, but I got pumped for the trailer and everything, and you know, I'm still kind of. We're going to recap 2 episodes, the first and second, obviously. The first one kind of was like, I felt like I enjoyed everything. I enjoyed the quality. I thought the story was a little just conjumbled and stuff, but they kind of stumbled into that was a good stumbling block into the second episode, which I really, really enjoyed. I thought that entire episode was great. So I just like to get you guys' thoughts on it and what you thought. Let's start at episode 1. Again, wasn't my favorite. I've talked to Jared about this, but just wasn't a huge fan of the story. I enjoyed the characterizations, and yeah, but it kind of seemed a little messy to me. So that made this next episode that much more better for me. Gave me some relief. Yeah.
I liked the first episode fairly well. You know, I could have stood a more creative name than Captain Carter. Are we allowed to spoil anything? Are we going to have a spoiler? Oh, yeah. Okay, good. For anyone who's a little behind in their viewing, which I still haven't gotten to watch Loki yet, so it's so please don't spoil Loki for me, guys. Although I can make some guesses based on some of what I've seen of what to expect, but. I was pretty happy. Well, one with Haley Atwell's voice performance. I thought that was phenomenal, and the fact that they got Sebastian Stan in to voice Buck, and kind of the dynamic between them and Steve that, you know, gets changed just because of what happens to Steve, what happens to Peggy, but then also the whole element of Steve taking on the armor, becoming the Hydra Smasher, brought me right back to J. Michael Straczynski and Tommy Lee Edwards' work on the Bullet Points miniseries that was published, I think, around the time Jared and I first met, maybe a little bit before that. But, you know, a great multi-issue, or especially on the front end, really solid multi-issue What If story where exactly that happens. You know, Steve doesn't get the super soldier formula, but he gets the opportunity to basically be an Iron Man, and goes overseas, becomes the hero in that way. And it was cool to see that concept adapted into the MCU, or sort of into the MCU in this way.
What'd you think, Kirk?
Well, it took me a while to get into the first episode, so I kind of watched half of the first episode and kind of got bored with it. I was also multitasking, so I didn't have my full attention, but I was like, eh. Then I decided to give another chance, and I was like, okay, it wasn't that bad. I I just didn't care for the story too much. I mean, it's cool that they switched out, made Captain Carter take the serum and all that. And it was cool that Steve, wore the Iron Man outfit, and they fought an octopus at the end or whatever that thing was. So I was like, okay, this isn't bad. But like Darren said, we'll probably get into this in a second, but I just felt like the second episode was so much better and just like a lot more original and just kind of caught my attention more than this one, the first episode. But the animation is really cool. I also, like John said, I enjoyed that Haley Atwell was voicing the character again. I really like her, and I'm kind of in the minority. I think I really like the Agent Carter series that they did. A lot of people don't talk about it, but I felt like it was pretty good. So those were some of the things I liked. But overall, I was like, I thought the first episode was just kind of average at best, in my opinion. So
Yeah, I think it definitely episode 2 was stronger of the two. I think episode 1 was probably a good intro to pretty much sticking to exactly the Captain America, how it happened, with even Bucky being on the train and almost, losing his arm, to even like a lot of the scenes seemed like they were pulled out of the movie, with like Red Skull when he comes up in his big car, like that was pulled directly from it. Peggy coming out and shooting with the rest of the Howling Commandos was like directly from the movie. So I think it was a really good intro to kind of preview as we're going to get further and further away from exactly adaptations of the MCU movies with just different people. I mean, we're going to have zombie Captain America and zombie hunter Spider-Man and like all this crazy stuff that's going to happen. So I just thought it was a good intro. Captain Carter for me was who I wanted. I told Darren this, who I wanted Captain Marvel to be. I felt like Captain Carter was just she was so tough and she was confident, but she wasn't cocky, and she wasn't always reminding me that she was a girl. She was just cool. Like Captain Carter was just awesome. And I thought, and that's what I really wanted for Carol Danvers, to just be this tough chick that wasn't always like, you do know I'm a girl, right? Don't forget I'm a girl that's kicking your butt. Hey, do you hear the No Doubt song playing? I'm just a girl. You got I'm a girl, right? Captain Carter didn't need to rely on any of that stuff to still be a tough chick. And that's what I just thought really excelled with that. Just seeing how that worked, and then to have, I thought the way that it ended was really like almost gave you a little bit of a tear in your eye. But I watched it at like 5 a.m. in the morning, so I was so tired there were no tears. But.
Yeah, and back to the whole like story issue. The first episode of What If, it kind of like took all these great highlight moments from Captain America's history that we all know and love from the MCU, and it's like they just tried to fit it all into that episode and make sure it was all included. Whereas the second episode had a lot more freedom. It's just like, okay, we changed this, and this at the beginning. Boom, because that story had me, it was like, what's going to happen next? I have no clue what's going to happen. And I that's why I enjoyed it. It was something new. I guess the first one I felt like it wasn't something new, even though things were changed, obviously. But I guess that's a good prelude. So yeah, the second one, I love the little ragtag team of, super Marvel characters, minor Marvel characters that came together, and I felt like I was watching a heist movie, and that was really cool. I'll leave it at that. That's all I have for now, but let's get the discussion rolling. So John D, Dr. John D.
Dr. John.
I could go on and on and on.
Yeah.
And speaking of being tired, I'm running on about 9 hours of sleep. So I hope I'm 9 hours of sleep over 2 days. So hopefully
you're clarifying.
Yeah, thanks for the context.
9 hours of sleep for one night would be amazing. I don't remember that happen. Now that second episode, I had seen tweets or whatever from people who had early viewings. Oh, it's really moving. We had Chadwick Boseman, probably one of the last things he ever recorded. Blah blah blah. And I was like, yeah, whatever. We'll see. It was really, really good. I was pretty floored by how good it was, and I think just with the quality of animation that that suddenly we're getting with this, man, one of the most amazing things to come out of the Disney acquisition. Like I recently rewatched Earth's Mightiest Heroes, the series from the early 2Ks, which is, or maybe closer to 2010, whatever. Great show, but man, I'm glad I rewatched that before this launched, because visually, this is just totally stunning. Really, really good. And I know we talked about how good Haley Atwell was in the first one. Chad Boseman and everyone they pulled from Guardians to be in this, and then especially I'm gonna mispronounce his name. I'm worried I'm gonna mispronounce his name, but Jamon Honshu or whatever as Korath the Pursuer.
Yeah.
I've never thought of Korath the Pursuer as cool or as funny, and I've never thought of Jamon Honshu as a comedic actor, and they did it, and made me value that character as something other than a low rent version of Ronan the Accuser in a really terrible costume, which is how historically I thought of him. And I don't know. I think Jared and I had talked about this a long time ago. I am not a big fan of the first Guardians movie because I am a big fan of how Star-Lord Peter Quill historically was in the comics, and that is not the character in the MCU. The character in the MCU is, Chris Pratt with a laser gun, playing Chris Pratt with a laser gun. So, for me, I was always a little frustrated by that, and the subsequent adaptation of the character into that in the comics. I felt like I was getting classic Star-Lord level Star-Lord in the form of T'Challa Star-Lord, and that pushed a lot of right buttons for me. I agree with everything Darren said too, about it just being a cool, fun heist movie. Getting the big fight with the Collector at the end. Seth Green as Howard the Duck. Fun little addition, surprisingly good. And the little tease at the end and everything. And yeah, not a dull moment. Which unfortunately for the first episode, definitely some dull moments. And a tease that I'm happy to double back and talk about that I felt a little disappointed with. And yeah, I would watch that episode again and again and again, this second one, and show it to anyone, even if they didn't have familiarity with the source material.
Cool.
Nice. So I definitely agree with what Darren said kind of at the beginning, where like he was talking about the first episode was just kind of like highlights of the Captain America film, with just like a few kind of different things that were changed. And that's kind of why it was hard for me to get into it, because I'm just like, what's the point in this? Like, you just switched out a character, changed a couple things. It's like, whatever. But this one, I liked how everything was just pretty, a lot different than kind of what you were expecting. Like from the beginning, I was watching it and, he's like, you might know me from my other name, Star-Lord. And I'm like, oh, he's going to go, who? But no, he was like, oh, I know who you are, like freaks out. So I was like, okay, this is going to be different. I'm actually probably going to be into this a lot more. So that was pretty cool. And just kind of like the different changes with characters. Like obviously it was kind of interesting to see Thanos with kind of more in like a good guy role, and people were kind of like making fun of his plan to like wipe out civilization. They're like, that's called genocide, dude. He's like, oh no, it's actually a really good plan. I'm like, no, it's not, you moron. So that was pretty good for me. So yeah, this episode, the second one, was just a lot better. It was totally different, and it was really cool to see Chadwick Boseman again, kind of voicing the character. And I know there's 3 more episodes that are going to have him in it, so that's kind of cool that unfortunately, even though he's gone, like he's still going to have these other episodes come out, and we'll get to kind of hear him play the character again. So
yeah, totally agree. Good points, both of you. Excellent points. For me, I think the Collector stole the show. I thought the way that the Collector was portrayed in the regular MCU was kind of meh. He was just very like every character that Jeff Goldblum has ever played. Like, that was the Collector, and then we got to see Jeff Goldblum in the Marvel universe too. So to have him just be like super powerful and buff Like, yeah, like he took them on and was that was really sweet because it was unexpected. And I think this whole episode was unexpected from right where you, like you said, you thought that he was going to say who? When he didn't say that, like it was all off the table because everything was different. Thanos was a freaking Ravager. Who would have thought we would have seen that? You know, we got to see the Black Order show back up, and the Black Order are some of my favorite characters, and I don't think they were really given their due in the MCU. So to see them take down Thanos, like that's really cool. We got Nebula with a Captain Planet villainous wig. I don't know who that chick was in Captain Planet. If you guys have seen Captain Planet, but the main girl villain had like this blonde coif over her eye. that's who I just kept seeing.
Yeah.
What's that?
I don't remember her name either, but I do remember that character pretty well, and kind of the Nebula doing even more of like the femme fatale thing a little bit, you know, among this heist vibe that the episode had.
Yeah, totally. So I like it because I was surprised. Every 2 minutes, it was a new surprise, something that I hadn't guessed. And that's what makes it, I think that is definitely the difference between the first episode and the second episode. We knew where the first episode was going to go. We're just changing a couple tweaks. The second episode, we had no idea. And that's what's so much fun about all the Marvel projects. Our account got an email today from someone that kind of gave some spoilers to Shang-Chi. And Darrin and I were both like, no, we want to be surprised. Like that's the fun part of it, is being surprised. So for What If, I'm just super surprised and I love it. It's a good surprise. It's fun.
I'm gonna throw something out there if I can, which is the second episode. One thing I kept thinking as I was sitting there watching it this afternoon was, whoever was in the writer's room, whoever drafted this script, they definitely spent time reading the comics. Like this didn't go off of just some bullet points and let's throw a plot together. You know, but it was clear that they had an appreciation for the James Gunn movies as well, just given some of the pacing of the humor, like all of the jokey Korath stuff and some of the, you know, the sillier interplay between Thanos and T'Challa and everything played in that direction. But you know, Jared mentioned mentioned the Black Order. Like they felt like the Black Order from the comics to me. Like you got Proxima Midnight being by far the scariest and most competent one in the room. And at the same time, you've got, you know, I'm wearing my classic Captain Marvel shirt today, finally, for a reason other than to go to the gym. And because we're doing this show. But I'm a big Jim Starlin fan, and that version of Thanos is definitely like the byproduct, you know, the where Thanos goes version of things. If you follow through the course of Starlin's work, going back to the Captain Marvel stories, through the Adam Warlock stuff, through, you know, the original Infinity Gauntlet Crusade War, he basically is Thanos as we get him in Infinity War and Infinity Crusade in the books in the early 90s. So that was cool for me. That was super cool.
Now, Kirk, don't you have a pretty significant Thanos issue back there on the bed behind you?
Not quite. So Iron Man 55 is his first appearance, which I don't currently have, unfortunately, but that's Iron Man #1. So it's still in the same, it's in the same series, so you're close. But yeah.
We have to redo the whole episode. We have to cut that out. I've lost all legitimacy.
Oh no, we're leaving it.
Oh man.
I'm
just glad I knew something that you didn't, so that's cool.
Why do you think I don't do Marvel trivia? Why do you think I host it?
Because he's the Watcher.
Oh yeah, what do you think about him? You like the Watcher so far? We haven't got a whole lot of him, but
that's one of my favorite parts because it reminds me of like, this is like the Twilight Zone of Marvel or something, the way it's tied together in the intro and everything, and his trippy voice and all. Yeah, what's not to like about that? And just trying to get you juiced up before the episode starts. I always like that.
Yeah, it's pushing all the right buttons that help me get into Marvel and get into comics and superheroes in general through What If books when I was young, because we're getting all these done in one stories, you know, complete beginning, middle, and end. We're getting things where, what you expect to happen isn't going to be what happened. I thought for sure they were leading up to Red Skull summoning Thor to be his champion in that first episode. And we get this H.P. Lovecraft tentacle monster thing instead that they have to fight, which, was cool in its own way, but the buildup felt like it was going to be Thor, or at least someone from Asgard. So not getting that was kind of a bummer.
Instead, we got tentacles that are plot hole fillers.
Yeah.
So.
Exactly. But regardless, you're still getting everything. You're getting the Watcher setting everything up, providing context. It's everything I always loved about What If books, and it's being brought to life in a way that's a lot easier for me to share with friends and family.
What If was always one of my favorite series as well, because it was just so bonkers, and there were and like Captain America could die, Spider-Man could die. That probably they're not going to die in the comic books when you're growing up as a kid. Now, I mean, they kill them every other issue now, but back then they didn't. So you would pick up What If, and it would be like, what if Jean Grey didn't die, or what if Storm got the power of the Phoenix, or like, what if Wolverine stayed with Alpha Flight? It's like, well, I don't know. What if? And it was just bonkers, and I loved it.
Yeah. Did you guys already talk about Heroes Reborn on here? Because I would love to, even though we're a little past publishing, delve into a discussion of that now that I've read it.
Well, no. So these shows are mostly just the M6P versus the MCU, but we'll be doing some expansion, John. Dr. John, sorry, I apologize.
Ian, you guys don't need to do that, but yeah, keep me in mind for future discussion around that type of thing, please.
Well, John, you brought up, Dr. John, sorry, you had brought up the art of Earth's Mightiest Heroes versus this art. And I think this is maybe where we disagree a little bit, because I'm very much a fan of the flat 2D kind of, like the old, like a cartoon to me, like that's a cartoon. This is more like a video game kind of art. So I would say for me, I'm more of a fan of like the bright colors and the hand-drawn kind of thing, and not so much the video game model kind of stuff. But wonder what the rest of you guys think too.
I don't really know what's going on with the What If art. Like, it's not bad, but it's something that I feel like they're just coming up and trying to do something completely unique and new, and maybe we're just not all absorbing it yet. Ultimately, Jared and I met discussing 2D Marvel art, so I'm still a fan of 2D Marvel art. I'm a big fan of Earth's Mightiest Heroes. I don't know. I think we need to see a few more What If episodes and see where this is all going. Well, not that it's like on the same storyline, but the animation, like we've yet to see the full capabilities of whatever they're trying to do. So maybe, I don't know. That's not an answer, right? I don't know what to think. That new artwork, the animation, I'm just not sure yet. I'll leave it at that. I believe the 5th.
I don't personally mind it. I am a much bigger fan of just like the normal 2D stuff, probably because that's kind of what I grew up watching, with the X-Men and Spider-Man cartoon and pretty much anything else, you'd watch back in the day. So I don't know if this is just, maybe it was like easier and cheaper to do it this way, or they're just trying to like modernize stuff. But I don't mind it because like I get used to it after a while, but I would much prefer like the kind of the standard 2D format with it. I think I would like that better, but I don't know. Again, I don't know if that just takes longer to do or what the case is, or they're just trying to, like you said, just do something different with it and kind of separate it from other stuff that's out there. But
yeah, don't misunderstand. Like I don't like Earth's Mightiest Heroes or Wolverine and the X-Men or X-Men Evolution, any of that stuff, the 90s cartoons any less because of this. I just think it's absolutely beautiful because it's clearly computer generated animation, but they've put in the work for the cell shading. So it's like, it feels to me like Walt Disney Studios putting all of their top work they possibly could into something that looks like classic Disney, but contemporary Marvel all at once, and it's hitting the right spot.
Well, speaking of hitting the right spot, let's go to Marvel trivia. bestest, most funnest part of the night of the show is Marvel trivia. So we have Darrin in one corner, Captain Kirk in another, and Dr. Jon in one. And we've got these handy dandy Marvel trivia cards here. So each question, it has a point value assigned to it. Each player will get to pick between 1 and 5. They pick 1, then they get 1 point if they answer that question correct. And if they pick 5 and they get that question answered correctly, they get 5 points. These cards were made in 2002, so it asks all Marvel questions up to then. So there will be no Marvel movie questions on here, but it should still be a good time. First person to 15 points wins. We ask that you try not to take more than 3 to 5 seconds to answer your question, or we'll be here all night. All right. So we also always go alphabetical. So would Captain be first, or would Darrin?
Absolutely.
Captain? All right,
Captain's
Captain.
my legal
I have no, it's fine. Either way, go. Let's go, Captain Kirk.
All right, Captain.
I'm gonna go with a three ball.
A 3. Question 3. Why was Captain America the only super soldier created?
He was the only super soldier created because they destroyed the serum. There was no more serum left after that.
Well, in the comics and also in the movie, Dr. Erskine was killed by the Nazi spy, and he was the only one that knew the formula.
Dang it. So I get half a point. 1.5 points?
Darrin has said no.
All right, dang it.
All right, Mr. Michael.
Let's go 3. We'll go 3 too.
3. How did Electro get his powers?
See, I'm gonna miss the exact verbiage of this one too, just like you did, Captain Kirk, on the last one. Electricity grabbed up. I don't know. An electrical accident. I don't know.
Oh, that's pretty broad.
Yeah, yeah. See, it's safe.
Well, he was struck by lightning.
A terrible electrical accident. A terrible electrical accident. All right.
Well,
yeah,
so
I get
let's
nothing.
defer. Yeah, we'll defer to Captain Kirk. What do you think about that answer, Captain Kirk?
I mean, I wouldn't give you half a point on that one.
I defer. Yeah, I agree.
Kirk wants to take points away.
Can you get negative points?
I also would have gotten it wrong myself. I would have guessed exactly the same thing, Darrin.
All right, Doctor. What you got?
All right, here we go. Did you guys both do 3s?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
We
right.
both got them wrong, so.
You know what? I'm going to kick it up. I'm going to do, we haven't gotten one right, but I'm going to go for a 4.
4. What 2 weapons did the Scarlet Spider invent?
Ooh, the Scarlet Spider invented, I know there were the web balls. I'm not sure if they were called that, but I know they expanded on impact and formed like a encompassing web.
Wow.
And I'm going to go with the web shield.
Stingers.
Stingers. Ah.
Stingers. And you're right, the impact webbing. That was great, man.
Well, halfway there, but if you guys don't want to give me the 2 points,
If we start doing math for points, we're gonna be here all night. So we better just it's either right or it's wrong per Jared.
Sounds good. And also, you guys need to keep track of your own points. So, all right, Kirk, what number you want, man?
I'm up to 10.
I'm kind of scared to pick a lower one because I'll look really dumb if I don't get those right. But I'm going to try it anyway. I'm going to go with a 2-pointer.
What is Nightcrawler's favorite weapon?
A knife.
Oh, a sword. A sword. He's a swashbuckler, man. I can't move with that one.
Dang it.
All right, Darrin.
5.
5. Oh, all right. 5. In what issue did Mr. Fantastic marry the Invisible Woman? In what issue did Mr. Fantastic marry the Invisible Woman?
It's going to be a random guess. I know it's early. I don't think it's very early. 20. Well.
It was the 1965 Fantastic Four annual.
Oh.
I think that, yeah, which I want to say was the first annual.
Kirk has probably had 4 of them graded and sold.
Unfortunately, not. I wish.
All right, I got to pick a number, don't I? A number between 1 and 5. I'll go for 5 because I would have gotten either of those last 2 questions. So I'm just gonna go for it.
All right. If you have watched the show, you would have known this question has been asked before.
Oh no!
Why did Maverick kill his wife?
Ooh,
I still don't remember the answer.
Maverick kill is that is a good 5-point question. I am going with she was a double agent.
Can you see that? She was a double agent.
What?
All right, someone's on the board finally.
Wow.
You know,
Holy
I
smokes.
read a good chunk of that Maverick series in the 90s. Do I remember any of it? Yeah, not really. I know
Apparently you did.
AIDS was in it.
Wow, man.
That's about it.
I'm impressed. All right, as he takes a sip. All right, Captain Kirk.
I'm gonna go back to 3.
All right, 3. What was Peter Parker's nickname in high school? Parker's nickname.
His nickname was
Well, that depends on the character who gave it to him. I would.
right. Peter. I got nothing.
Puny Parker.
Puny. I knew it had to be a P word, but
Yeah.
the other thing I could think of was going to make the edit cut on this without having to get beeped out. So I was like, it can't be that.
I could see the wheels turning in your head. You were going.
Yeah. Like kid show.
All right, Darren.
3. Let's go
3.
back. Play it safe. Oh, man.
Who was the very first mutant?
Apocalypse.
Apocalypse. He was.
I'm on the board. You better watch out, Dr. John.
Oh boy.
All right.
All right.
What number you want?
Oh boy. I'm gonna take another 5.
Name 3 out of 5 members of the Lethal Legion.
Oh. Wonder Man, Simon Williams. I know he was there at one point. Well, Grim Reaper definitely recruited them. And let's see who else brought back for that. I want to say maybe Porcupine at some point. Maybe I'm wrong about Wonder Man. Maybe he wasn't brought back for it.
So this is who they've got listed. Cold Steel, Sienna, Hangman, Acts of Violence, and Zyazon.
You didn't know that?
Of a later version of the Lethal Legion.
It has to be, yeah, it had to have been a different version.
I don't, maybe, 2002, maybe this was like a Kurt Busiek, Thunderbolts, or his Avengers run.
Yeah. That sucks, man.
That is what
I've
it is.
I've never heard of any of them.
That is a 12-point question.
That is
Yeah.
the first time that card's ever been played during an M6P versus MCU.
I'm gonna keep this one out and do a little research on that one. I'm interested myself.
Go use it for a Squirrel Girl comic, bookmark thing.
Yeah. All right, Kirk.
I'm gonna try 1 just because I feel nervous about getting shut out.
All right, you got this.
I
Who
hope
is
so.
the god of thunder?
Thor?
Thor! Yeah! I'm on the board!
I'm just doing 1 every time from now.
Yeah.
You only need to get 14 more.
Yeah. Creeping up.
All right. Darren.
I'll do 3.
3. Who is Peter Parker's first love?
Gwen Stacy.
Gwen Stacy. 3 points.
Oh, nice.
We have a new leader.
I'm gonna have to try and retake that lead. I'm gonna dial back down to threes because other than the one I got wrong, I think I would have gotten all the other threes to this point.
All right, John. So number 3. Okay. Who is Jessica Drew?
Who is Jessica Drew? Why, she is the Spider-Woman.
She is the Spider-Woman, the best Spider-Woman too.
Yeah, although she might not have been in 2002. I'm not sure. But Jared, you did not freeze. You just were staring me down, man.
No, my internet stopped for a
Yeah, he
second because
froze.
you all froze. All right. So John, you have 8, is that right? Darrin has 6, and Kirk has just got on the board. Good job. All right, Kirk, you want to keep it going?
I'm gonna go with the 2. I'm feeling confident now.
Okay. This is another Asgardian question.
Oh gosh.
Which-
Okay.
Which Norse god adopted Loki and raised him as his own?
Lafison. Odin. Oh, which oh man.
You didn't
Sorry, I
listen to
was
the
thinking of the
question.
movie. My bad.
No, well, in the movie, Odin adopted him too.
Right, but it's been a while. That's on me, guys. I should have had it. That's on me. Okay.
I think the wallpaper is kind of affecting you too. It's not your fault.
Yeah, lots of fumes in here.
Like glue. All right, Darrin, you gonna retake the lead?
Yeah, 3.
3. Who was Thor's first human identity?
Oh man.
Much different than the movie.
Yeah, I know. And I know it too. It's just gonna be one of those things that slipped my mind. It's gonna...
Thor's first human identity was.
I've missed worse than this, so but no, it's gonna drive me nuts. It's one of those. I'm not gonna waste the 5 seconds. I already have. So
Just keep talking, Darrin. It was Donald Blake. Donald Blake, and you knew it, didn't you?
yeah.
All right, John, you're in the lead.
Okay, let's do another 3. Let me get that 1-1-11.
Who was Hawkeye married to?
Oh man, talk about another character that definitely was not prominent in 2002. Bobby Mockingbird Morse.
You're correct. Mockingbird. Mockingbird. Yeah.
Character I didn't think was going to come back at that point in time.
Yeah. All right. Wow, John is starting to run away with it. Kirk, can you stop him?
Probably not, but I'm gonna go with the 3 ball again.
Okay. Who taught Pyro how to manipulate his mutant powers?
This
Who taught Pyro how to manipulate?
is probably not correct, but the only thing that's come to mind is Professor Xavier.
That was a good guess. It was Mystique.
Dang it.
He was on the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, and she helped him out.
The second Brotherhood.
Yes. Look at we got a doctor in the house, guys. It's getting fancy.
Jeez, Dr. John.
Going through an active reread of all my Uncanny X-Men omnibuses and all the old.
Well, that's not fair. You get to study ahead of time.
All right, Darrin.
Let's go 4.
4. All right, Darren's trying to get back in here.
Take
All
me
right.
down.
Who is Arkady Grigorovich? Who is Arkady Grigorovich?
I'm sorry, I don't know.
That's Omega Red.
Nah.
Red.
Is that really like a standard Russian name that they were trying to make? Like, is that what? Say that again.
Arkady Grigorovich.
Has anybody actually heard that name spoken outside of reading the comic ever? So do we even know if Jared's saying it right? I'm just curious because that's a crazy.
I went to college with 4 Arkadies and a whole family of Grigoroviches.
Really? Wow.
No.
You delivered.
Yeah, Darrin, our reunion is coming up. Don't you remember the Arkadies?
Yeah. That's why.
All right, John.
Okay. I'm gonna take a 5. I'm going to keep this. I'm either going to win big or I'm going to keep this going a little bit.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Oh no.
All right. In what year were the Avengers introduced?
1963. That's a 5-point question.
I know, right? That's why I was
I
like,
could have got that.
what?
That,
John, you've won the game.
Woo!
I wanted to get the 16 points for the 616 Marvel Universe.
Okay. Well, we just have to do 6. Yeah, you only need 600 more points.
I only need 600 more points. So you guys just need to have me on that many more times to accumulate that many more points.
Well,
trade paperbacks out. Be great.
well, we'd love to have you back on. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely want to have you both. Awesome. Well, congratulations, John. Your name will be entered to win M6P prize pack that we'll be giving on at the end of the year. So, Kirk, if you come back on, make sure you study up because you're going to want this.
Yeah, I didn't know there was a prize. I would have studied ahead of time. Man.
Will you have cracked those slabs open and got to reading?
That would be expensive, so probably not. I'll probably just buy the reprints.
There you go. There you go. Well, thank you so much for coming. Again, we are the M6P. Subscribe to our channel, like this post, check us out on the M6P everywhere. And until next time, make yours the M6P.